To our first lesson, which is on conduction, convection, and radiation. If you look at this picture in front of you, you can see the three different types of energy transfer that are in front of you. In this example, we'll be looking at a pot and a flame underneath it, and we'll look at how conduction, convection, and radiation allow for heat to be transferred. Firstly, let's start with convection, which seems to be the most complicated one. What we have here is just like in the lava lamp or in the mantle of our Earth, we have heat sources, and those heat sources make materials move faster. As the atoms within the material move faster, they become less dense. Because they're less dense, they start to rise. So in areas of heat, we have rising currents. Once those currents rise, which really just means the particles rise, so the water particles that are at the bottom start to rise, they start to cool down when they reach the top. That makes them more dense and they start to circle down. This current continues to move in a circular pattern, and these are called convection currents. They happen in many different places, but you can see them in boiling water when you see the water turning in circles. The next one I want to talk about is conduction. Conduction is when molecules actually touch each other and cause heat to be transferred. So in this case, the hot handle of the pot is touching the person's hand, so that person feels the warmth. They can only feel the warmth because conduction is allowing it to be transferred into their hand. Then we have radiation underneath, which is showing the waves that are moving from the fire outwards. These waves of heat energy are moving into the pot and heating it up. They're also going to heat up the person's hand. To look at your chart, we have all of the different types of heat energy transfer. So we have convection, which is heat transfer through circular movements. You can also add there that it's due to heat changes and density differences. Conduction is heat transfer through contact, and radiation is heat transfer through wave movements. Convection can only happen in phases of matter that allow for materials to move. So we call those fluids, and the two phases of matter that are fluid are liquids and gases. The particles need to be able to move in those patterns. In a solid, the particles are too still and organized in a pattern. In order for convection to happen, it would need to be moving more. Conduction is usually with solids because the molecules must touch each other, but it can also happen in liquid and gas if the molecules are close enough together. So possibly like in a high pressure situation where the liquids and gases are being pushed close together. Radiation can happen in any phase of matter or in space. So a good example of this is like you can see waves going through objects that are translucent, like through a window, which is sort of in the solid or liquid phase. You can see waves, like you can see people when they're in water, and that's a liquid. And you can see people as we're standing in a gas, and visible light is part of this radiation spectrum. Your sketch for convection is just these circular movements, and in the middle is where our heat source would be, because that's where you have your upward arrows. Conduction is just two objects touching each other. For radiation, I have a little wave there. Your examples for convection, like I said, are in the atmosphere and the mantle, but also boiling water is a good example. Conduction is anything that you touch that's hot. So even if you leave a shirt out in the sun, when you touch it and it feels hot, that's conduction. It's conducting heat into your hand. And radiation, the sun's light and energy, that would actually be what makes the shirt hot in the first place. So just as a little summary, what I want you to do is take a look at this bottom question about how the sun impacts our picnic. I want you to come up with a way that conduction makes the sun impact our picnic, a way radiation, and a way that convection each would impact our picnic. I'll give you a hint. For convection, you might want to say that it's a barbecue instead of a picnic. That's it for now. See you tomorrow.